And welcome into this weather video with Alvin Kamau as I am watching snow possibilities and even the potential for cold air. But please note, changes are possible. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is going to be something that if you're a snow lover, you're not going to be happy to hear, because most of the snow with this first round is going to be mainly in northern Missouri. We're going to talk about the time and all of that coming up, and that also could change. But this is going to be for literally Monday evening into mainly the day on Tuesdays where you're going to see most of this. But for St. Louis, this is going to be more rain and less snow for this first batch of wintry weather that I am tracking. As you can see, we're going to start off with some rain, and then in St. Louis later on, I'm going to show you this coming up, we'll change over to some snow, but it's quick and it doesn't amount to much. But here's one thing that we do need to know. Notice how St. Louis, we don't get a lot of snow from this first system on Monday evening, or at least on the day on Tuesday, I should say. But as you head northwest of St. Louis and continue to drive northwest, especially into northern Missouri or northeast Missouri and west central Illinois, you start getting into some travel problems, and that is something that you do need to know, especially in this area circled right here where the National Weather Service, and they do a really good job of explaining this, has the biggest question mark on exactly if this is where the heaviest bands of snow or where the heaviest batch of snow will track, because it could move even further north than that and more areas in northern Missouri don't get snow, or it could move a little bit further south and more areas in the coverage area, of course, could get some snow. But of course, my hope isn't that high that this is what we would want in St. Louis, because I don't really see a big snow potential with this snow round than I was thinking about earlier. And so this is something that we will monitor, but for this first big batch of wintry weather that I'm tracking, this doesn't look to be a huge problem for St. Louis. But as you head towards the northwest, especially into northern Missouri, that definitely is going to be an area where you could run into some problems. So if you have any friends and family in northeast Missouri and west central Illinois, this is the time to, give them a heads up. But I think we're going to be pretty good in St. Louis, but it's still something to monitor because we could still get some changes. I'm not saying we're not going to get snow. It's going to be pretty quick, and it's not going to amount to much. So this is one thing I'm monitoring, and I want to show you that with our forecast models. As you can see, again, more rain, less snow, and even when it changes over to some snow, you can see our temperatures are pretty warm and change it back to rain. But notice how northern Missouri and west central Illinois, they stay in the snow pretty longer, and so this is not really going to be something you want if you're a snow lover. But there could be a system the end of this week that we have to monitor that could bring us some snow and even has some cold weather below freezing temperatures to work with that we got to monitor. But it's way too far out. Changes are possible. The track that it will take could be way different than what I'm thinking right now. Especially, I would think that would be a likelihood. And so that is one thing that you do need to know, that changes with this weather video are possible. Now, one thing you do need to know is notice the date. I'm starting this January 11th on your Thursday. And notice that big batch of cold air that moves our way, starting potentially this coming weekend and progressing into the following week. You can see January 15th, January 17th, 16th, and 17th. You can see this big batch of cold air moves into our area. And don't focus on the exact temperatures, because the exact temperatures are going to change. So I know you're seeing 1 degrees and negative temperatures, but please don't focus on them. It's going to change significantly potentially, but it's showing us as we progress through January, especially mid-January, we could be looking at some pretty cold temperatures. So that is something that we do need to monitor. And you can see the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center is showing that possibility of below normal temperatures for a good portion of Kansas and Missouri, including a good portion of our coverage area, including the St. Louis metro. And so what does that mean? We do have a big batch of cold air, definitely way colder than probably you've been feeling and wearing a jacket. It's going to be way colder than that potentially as we head towards January 13th through the 17th. And so definitely bundle up, and it could even progress through January, maybe even towards the end of January. But again, it's too far out definitely I do see a sign of some big cold air though as we head towards January 13th through the 17th and maybe even beyond. So that is welcoming in 2024. And of course, Happy New Year, by the way, if I did not say it already. So definitely these will be things that we do need to monitor, including that potential for some snow this month, of course, that we got to monitor, and basically focused on Monday evening through Tuesday that we may have to monitor this, and maybe even a couple of other systems through January that we do need to watch. But of course, download Twitter or X to follow me and get those weather updates, because I'll have frequent outdoor weather updates on my Twitter page. And so I know that was a lot. Just note that we do have potentials for some big cold air this month, and definitely those snow potentials are there. But the first batch for St. Louis, Monday evening through Tuesday, definitely does it not look so impressive for our area. And also note the timing could change, the track could also change a little bit, but it is not so promising for this first round of precip that I'm monitoring Monday through Tuesday. So we'll keep an eye on it pretty closely, especially follow the National Weather Service. They are really good at explaining this. If you are watching this weather video, and you may see people throwing out random snow amounts on Twitter, especially if it's for things that could happen later on this month in January. So just ignore them, stick to the experts. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but your local news, your local meteorologist, they know better than me, and I'm also learning from them. Until then, lots of things to watch this month. I'm not saying this whole month will be active, but definitely if you haven't got those heavy batches of jackets out, maybe even boots, that's probably now is probably the time to get that ready. And so yeah, we'll be monitoring all of this and keeping you updated and informed every single weekend when I'm available. And so yeah, until then, we will see you in the next video, and of course, Happy New Year.